Good morning. Welcome to Walking Boxing. It is Saturday, September the 6th, 2025. And it's hard to believe actually that only 2 days to head off to Las Vegas. It's come around really quick, and there's been so much sort of going on, business, family, all that sort of stuff that it's just really crept up on me, and but I better start to get organised. I don't normally pack or anything until pretty much the night before. I only take a carry bag. I travel very, very light. If you watch the channel a fair bit, you'll know that some of the things that peeve me off at on planes and at airports and that sort of stuff. So I like to be nice and sleek, I suppose that's what you call it. Travel bag, put in just the absolute essentials. If you need it over there, just buy it, and you can discard it on the plane home straight off, not waiting at carousels. And again, if you watch the channel, you know my peeves are, one of them is people that on planes who, doesn't matter when it lands and how long they've got to wait for, they're up in the aisles and looking to get off, and this is even if there's no connections and all this sort of stuff. They just need to get off and need to push past you and run past you or whatever it might be. And I always thought, well, if you've got to go to the carousel is the great equaliser. So that no matter how fast you get off the plane, no matter how fast you go through customs, you've got to get to the carousel. And if your bag's not coming out first, well, you're in a shitload of bad luck, I suppose. The amount of times where I have actually had not carry on, but a proper bag, and had people rush past me and pretty much push me out the road and get through customs, and then get to the carousel and my bag comes off first, and I just sort of sail off out the doors and they're still waiting for the bag. You got to have a bit of a chuckle. But my worst pet hate in that situation, by the way, is when you've got the carousel and there is a yellow line around the carousel, by the way, and which means you've got to stand behind it. But no, they've got to be right up against it, just in case the bag comes from about 20 metres away and they don't see it. And someone might be in front of them. It's ridiculous. But anyway, I could almost do a separate YouTube page about just the travel, the things that happen on travels, and the things that peeve me, and I'm sure a lot of travellers off. But anyway, that's for another episode. All right, so on this day, actually, we'll get to first. That's probably would help, wouldn't it? Back in was it 1920, Jack Dempsey defeated Billy Misk in 3 rounds for the heavyweight title. It was actually the first radio broadcast of a prize fight. I like this channel I get on here, or this page. It's got all these little, not just the results, but little bits and pieces they throw in like that. Also on this day, 1985, the great Ghanaian Azuma Nelson defended his WBC featherweight title by knocking out Juvenal Ordinas in 5 rounds. I don't remember that fight. Actually, I used to follow Azuma pretty closely, but I don't remember that. That fight was in Miami, Florida. In 1997, this was a good one. Eric El Terrible Morales won the World Super Bantamweight title by knocking out another great Mexican, Daniel Zaragoza, in 11 rounds. That was in El Paso, Texas. And last one, 2002, Canadian Eric Lucas retained the World Super Middleweight title by defeating Omar Shika by decision, and that fight took place in Montreal, Canada. All right, some news last night. Callum Peters at the World Championships. I missed it. I had to work, but he lost to Canadian Joshua Ofuri 5-0. So again, I haven't had a chance to watch it. I will this morning. But yeah, he did lose. I think it was in Liverpool, the World Championships. And if you don't know, it's on Main Event on Foxtel, so make sure you check that out. But yeah, a bit of a shame. There was big hopes on Callum Peters at those championships, but as has been shown, even with someone like Harry Garside, it's great you have a really good result at World Championships or Olympics or whatever it might be, and you think it's going to be, well, you prepare to go one better or a couple better at the next games or championships, and you run into a really, really good opponent first up. And that's what's obviously happened with Callum Peters. I don't know much about the amateurs these days, but by all accounts, this Joshua Ofuri was a pretty good fighter. And I'll look forward to having a look at that fight today and check it out for myself. So 5-0, so he'll come back, I'm assuming, and fight on a pro show here in Australia, probably a couple of times before the end of the year. I just really hope that now that, well, you'll probably, the Commonwealth Games are next year, aren't they? So I think, yeah. So I'm not sure whether he'll go to that or bother to go to that. But if I was him, I think I'd just bypass that and just go straight to the Commonwealth Games. Just be done with it. I just got a runny eye this morning for some reason. But yeah, no, he's a real talent, Callum Peters, and it's just experience. The amateurs it's a funny one, like it's not. I mean, obviously it's all about results, but it's not like the pros where you lose a fight and pretty much your career's over, as they say. I mean, it's just ridiculous in this day and age. But in the amateurs, even if you're not winning, it's experience. You just rack up the rounds, rack up the fighting elite, the amateurs around the world, and you go pro. And hopefully, in his case, he'll win a world title. I'm sure he'll give it a good crack. He's a very talented young guy. It seems like he's got a very good head on his shoulders as well. So I'm sure he'll be good. As I said, I just hope when he comes back and fights in those no limit shows, they really give him some guys with a pulse. I mean, I've been really disappointed in the 4 guys they've found for him so far. I know there's been a couple of late additions and all this sort of stuff, but I mean, the 4 guys he fought really shouldn't have been, in the ring sparring him, let alone fighting him. So it's a bit disappointing. Let's hope they can, they can get it right going forward and get him some guys that will actually help him and help him progress anyway, because they've done him no favours so far, no limit. And again, I'll say it, with all the resources in the world, or in Australia at least, wouldn't you think that they'd be able to find some credible guys for Callum Peters? But anyway, maybe going forward that will be the case. Maybe they've just wanted to give him a little bit of an introduction to the pros, and now that this World Championships are over, that they might invest a little bit more in him. Hello, puppy dog. Puppy dog come to see Neil. They can do their thing. All right. Okay. I better address this one straight off the bat. There is apparently going to be an exhibition between Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Mike Tyson. I don't even know what to comment about this. I really don't. When I thought we'd seen it all with Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, now we're going to have Floyd Mayweather and Mike Tyson. Look, I suppose the first thing that jumps straight off the page for me is not necessarily even the age. I mean, what are they, about 10 years apart? Mayweather, I think, is 48 and Tyson 58. But it's the weight. So Mayweather walks around, I'm pretty sure, at about, I'm going to go in pounds here, I think he's about 160, which is about 72 kilos. Might even be a bit less. Mike Tyson would walk around at about, I'm thinking about 240, even 250. Maybe it's a little bit lighter, but even if it's like 240, what's that, about 110 kilos? That's a lot of weight. You're looking at nearly 40 kilos or 90 pounds or whatever the hell it might be. That's a lot of weight. Hang on, I've got that wrong. So if he walks around at 160, yeah, it could be 70, 80 pounds. That's a lot of weight. So I don't know what the rules are going to be. I don't know what the gloves they're going to use. There's been talk it's probably going to be Las Vegas, I think. So come here, Neil, let's go, buddy. You've had enough. So it could be Las Vegas, or I think they're also talking about New York as well. So come here, buddy. Let's go. Just found a little mate there. Come here. Come on. Let's go. You had your fun. Come on. But either way, I mean, again, I don't really know how to take the fight. I mean, again, the size, the rounds, I mean, I'm still trying to get my head around it. It's just the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard. I suppose though, on the surface, I suppose none of that sort of matters. G'day, mate. I think none of that matters what we think or whatever about the fight. It all just comes down to the cash, doesn't it? And this fight will generate a lot of money. But when will it end? When will it end? I see someone actually put up a bit of a meme or something saying breaking news. Don King and Bob Arum finally get it on, and we'll do an exhibition. They're both in the 90s. Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's I know there's a place for it. I suppose in this instance, I think I've always actually said, you know, if these guys still want to get in the ring with and fight, we'll do it with each other, either similar ages and whatever, do it with each other, so at least gives the fans a nostalgic sort of fight. But I didn't expect to see a welterweight in against a heavyweight. Look, for Floyd Mayweather, I would think that it's not a bad thing. I mean, he's all about the money. He's been doing exhibitions, keeps himself in good condition. So I don't think his sort of legacy is sort of harmed at all or anything like that. I think people, you know, now have accepted that he does these exhibitions. Mike Tyson, if he hasn't already, I've just got a real fear that he's all his achievements in the ring are going to be forgotten, and he's going to be, you know, that guy, you know, almost like a meme himself. And I just see in this fight with Mayweather, that could, again, just harm his legacy going forward, because you talk to a lot of young sort of boxing fans now, and they all obviously know who Mike Tyson is, but they almost laugh about him. Oh, Mike Tyson, yeah, you know, that guy in The Hangover, and you know, the guy that fought Jake Paul, and you know, I suppose if you're from my era, you'll probably agree. I mean, I just can't get past the you know, the late 80s, early 90s Mike Tyson, who was just an absolute wrecking ball and had an aura about him that I don't think, you know, we've ever seen before. And that includes some of the greats of the past. And I just don't like where he's sort of going. I know, look, it's money and it's only an exhibition, and maybe he doesn't care about what people think about him. But yeah, I just get the impression these days that he's almost becoming a bit of a laughing stock, Mike Tyson, the butt of a lot of jokes. And I don't like it, because I just think so much of him as a fighter and what he's done for the sport. I mean, as a fighter back in the late 80s and early 90s, and even right through the 90s, he was the face of boxing for so long, probably 15 years, and the world stopped when he fought. That's the Mike Tyson I remember. And I don't really like to see, you know, a fat, old, really just disinterested Mike Tyson. I mean, just doing it for the money. And I really don't see what he gains from fighting a welterweight anyway. But anyway, good on him. He'll probably get an 8-figure payday, and I suppose that's all that matters. Does it really matter what us boxing fans want anymore? Probably not. But having said that, probably a shitload of people will probably turn up, won't they? They'll probably get 15 or 20,000 to watch them. I don't know, but I don't know. I just sometimes worry what the sport's coming to, where it's all just about the latest gimmick to get a few bucks out of all the boxing fans, and I'm just not sure how people can actually take this serious. I know it's only an exhibition, we should look at it that way, but I'm always just looking at our sport and how it's viewed. And I just always get a little bit cut when even the greats like Mayweather and Tyson just make a bit of a joke out of our sport. I mean, Jake Paul's done an awesome job in just making it look ridiculous. But yeah, but I don't consider him sort of a real fighter. But when Mayweather and people like Tyson do it, yeah, it's a little bit hard to swallow, but that's just my opinion. I suppose I'm a bit old-fashioned. Let me know your thoughts anyway, but I don't like it. I mean, good on him for earning some cash, but I just don't like what it does again to boxing as far as making it just a bit of a laughing stock. And look at, you know, and the UFC supporters must just look at boxing and just laughing their asses off at how ridiculous our sport's coming. But anyway, you know, you've got, not that I'm a UFC fan, but if I was, I'd be looking at boxing saying, well, look at these guys. The biggest fights getting made are these novelty fights. They can't even have big fights anymore. You've got to have YouTubers versus, you know, 58-year-old men. You know, you got to have ex-champions, you know, nearly in their 50s, and Tyson's case, he is in his 50s. This is what they've got to do to get eyeballs on the sport. That's just what I don't like. I know we've got Canelo and Crawford coming up, which will be a bit of a hit on the, you know, sugar hit for the sport, but I don't know. It just seems to be the fights that get all the most eyeballs on it are these novelty fights, and I don't like it. But at the end of the day, it's a business. They can do what they want. I think just as long as we sort of differentiate between the two and draw a line down the middle of what's real and what's not. The problem is what's not is the one that's earning all the money and getting the most views. But anyway, just my view. Good on them. They'll earn some money. And there has been some rumours about Mayweather for a while, hasn't there, about his financial situations. I just can't see how he could blow that amount of money. I mean, he's earned, I reckon, close to $1 billion even with his lifestyle. And that's not just earning $1 billion and having the rest of your life to spend it. There's shitloads more money coming in for him every week, month, year, whatever it might be. So, I mean, just the money he's got in property and interest on his money in the bank and that sort of stuff would be enough to be barely able to spend. So I don't sort of subscribe to all the rumours and stuff about him being broke. Maybe not as much money as he probably should have. He's probably wasted a bit, but he's always been pretty smart, Mayweather, and always used his name and his brand very, very well. So I'm sure he'll be fine. For all his misgivings, he seems like a pretty smart guy with some smart people around him. But anyway, we'll move on. Actually, I saw something a couple of days ago, and I almost mentioned it yesterday, but I wasn't quite sure the timing of it. And it was Roy Jones Jr. Now, he got his, if you remember back in 1988, he was ripped off at the Olympics, and we throw the word ripped off around a lot as far as fights. You know, this guy got to rip off, and he got ripped off, and he got ripped off. Well, and we sort of brush it off sometimes, but in Roy Jones's instance, that was probably the rip-off of the century. And he fought a guy from South Korea named Park Si-hun, and it was outrage around the world. And for all this time, Roy Jones has had to carry, I suppose, those feelings of disappointment and whatever you might want to call it, about not winning that gold medal that he should have won. And his opponent, Park Si-hun, has also, this is something we hadn't even thought about, to be honest, has had to live for 37 years with the guilt and shame. Apparently he was a bit of an outcast in his country, which is a real shame. I mean, we in these Western countries, we don't sort of think of that sort of stuff as, oh, well, you know, he won, he didn't deserve it, we move on. People wouldn't really care here. You know, almost make a joke about it, like with Stephen Bradbury. But over in those Asian countries where it's all about honour and respect and courage and all that sort of stuff, it was almost a bit of a, what do they call it, a pariah or something, an outcast. And it wasn't his fault, of course. He just fought his heart out and lost to a far superior fighter. But apparently he's done it really tough since then. And he went to Pensacola, Florida, and presented Roy Jones Jr. with that gold medal, who, as probably could be expected, was quite emotional about it and teared up and everything else. The reason I didn't mention it yesterday is because when I first read it, it said that it was from a couple of years ago. I thought, oh, well, maybe they're just sort of rehashing what happened a couple of years ago, but I'm not exactly sure when the dates were. But no matter when it was, I didn't know that it had happened, whether it was recently or 2 years ago. But what a gesture from Park Si-hun to bring his son over from South Korea, who was his interpreter. The two had a warm embrace. And that's the part of boxing I love. I really do. To see that, even though it was in the amateurs, to see two guys who shared one of the most probably infamous moments in sporting history, now all these years later, to embrace and Park Si-hun to actually give Roy Jones his medal. And now he can sort of rid himself of that burden of what's happened all those years ago. And I suppose when you think about it, probably could have been done a long time ago, but I really applaud him for going to America and presenting that gold medal to Roy Jones Jr. Now, whether it's just a symbolic thing like what happened with Jeff Fennick and Azuma Nelson, I don't know, but whether he's actually given him that gold medal, which it looks like he did, by the way, I feel really good for both guys. I really do. Roy Jones Jr. would obviously happily accept it, just like Jeff Fennick did, and I'm sure, as I said, that Park Si-hun would sleep a lot easier at night anyway after that. So good on everyone involved in making that happen. What else have we got today? Looks like Baccarat Murtazalia of Josh Kelly will be December the 13th. Now, originally it was going to be, well, it was just a given, apparently it was going to be Manchester, England, but since then, from a day or two ago, it looks like someone in the US has popped up, and it may be in the US. I still think it'll be Liverpool. I think they'll be able to come through. Sorry, not Liverpool, Manchester. Sorry, can't get those two mixed up, can I? I still think it'll be Manchester, though. I think with the the extra money involved and the crowd support, it'll probably be a lot easier to put on over there as far as getting the funds to do it, rather than trying to do it in America. Between an Englishman and a Russian. To try and do that in the States, you would probably think, as I said, it'd be a lot easier to do it in England, a lot easier to market, a lot easier to sell tickets, so a lot more money involved. So I think it'll end up in Manchester, but I'm glad that finally Baccarat Murtazalia has actually got a fight. And well done to Josh Kelly stepping up. So December 13. And one last one. Did see that Deontay Wilder stated he's going to fight until he's 50. Okay, I didn't even know he was still around, to be honest, Deontay Wilder, but according to him, he's going to fight until he's 50. If he's like what he is now at 40, I think he is, what's he going to be like at 50? Not quite sure. Maybe he'll fight Floyd Mayweather in 10 years' time. I don't know. But, hey, Deontay, good on you, mate. I'm sure all the boxing fans around the world are just ecstatic with the news that you'll be with us until you're 50 years old. Anyway, I mean, I joke about Deontay a little bit, but at the end of the day, he did have 10 world title defences. I get that. I get reminded of that all the time. But, yeah, as limited as he is now at 40 and looks as faded as faded, if he's going to be with us for another 10 years, I shudder to think what he's going to be like. But, hey, good on him. You're a long time retired, so good on you, Deontay. I hope you earn a lot more money. Just stay safe, mate. That's all I say. All right, that's going to do it, guys. Hope you have an awesome Saturday, and we'll catch you tomorrow.